Okay, well this leads us on to an idea we've had. It's the Top Gear down-to-earth board. You see, the problem is we get a lot of criticisms from viewers who say that we spend far too much time talking about Zondas and Ferraris and Aston Martins and not enough time giving advice, you know, sensible buying advice to people in cardigans. So what we've got here are all the small cars. There's the little Smart, there's the Mitsubishi Colt on which it's based. And now we've driven all of these, and we think that if you're going to buy such a thing, go for either the Honda Jazz or the Toyota Yaris. Those are the two, okay? Right, now, Aston Martin. When I drove the DB9 earlier this year, I remember thinking, why would anyone buy the Vanquish? I mean, they're the same size, they look pretty much the same, they're the same engine, same power, same top speed, and yet the Vanquish is £60,000 more expensive. It just seemed potty. But now, Aston Martin have said that this has been made a lot better. This is the result, the Vanquish S. The idea is that you buy a DB9 if you want to loop across Europe, and then one of these if you want a bare-knuckle, pedal-to-the-metal thrash on a Sunday morning. Hey! So how then have they created this new sportiness? It looks the same as the old car from the outside, and the interior is pretty similar as well. So, you're probably expecting the engine to be some kind of nitroglycerine-fueled rocket. Let's have a look. Nope. They fiddled with it a bit, but in essence it's the same 6-litre V12 you get in the DB9. I have to say though that apart from the gearbox, this is way better than it was before. It feels faster, tauter and harder. So there's no doubt they have moved it away from the DB9. Unfortunately, however, that means they've moved it right into the firing line of one of the biggest names in the business. What we have here is a Ferrari 575. Like the Aston, it's a big, two-seater, no-compromise sports coupe with a V12 engine at the front, a flappy paddle gearbox in the middle, and rear-wheel drive at the back. And like the Aston, it has recently been given a thorough going over to make it a bit more of a brute. When the 575 first came out, it was a soft, quiet, rather wallowy old Hector. Now they fixed that quite quickly, and now they've fixed the fix with what they're calling the GTC handling pack. For an extra £16,000 you get thicker anti-roll bars, stiffer suspension, fatter tyres and ceramic brakes. You also get a new exhaust, so it sounds like a Ferrari should. I have to say the changes have really sharpened this thing up. This has got a much better gearbox than the one in the Aston. Still flappy paddles, but less jerky on the way up and faster on the way down. Better still, if you're a serious driver, you can have a proper manual with a clutch pedal. This is really designed for, you know, posers, people who've got carpet warehouses in Huddersfield who just want to show off to the mates at golf club. Hey, I've got one of them gearboxes like Michael Schumacher. So, what do we reckon? On paper, these two cars are incredibly similar. They both cost about the same, they both produce more than 500 brake horsepower, and they'll both crack 200 miles an hour. To decide which is best, we need to do some back-to-back tests, and that means I need another driver for the other car. There's only one man for the job, Rowan Atkinson. Sadly, Rowan was busy, so I called an old mate of mine. He's a big petrol head, Steve Coogan. The first test we have is a simple drag race. Yes. we did a braking test, and once again, the Ferrari was the winner. But the big deciding factor is how these cars make you feel. There was no doubt that the Aston made the better noise. But what about everything else? Well, to decide, we pulled over for a little chat.
In terms of like drivability, this is just, it just gives you loads of information when you're driving to your fingertips. You can feel the back end going.
I mean, this is brilliant.
Oh,
That's super brilliant.
I wouldn't feel upset if someone gave me that.
No. I wouldn't feel upset if I bought one. I think I've got a really good car. But
I would after about 12 months when I looked at the depreciation. But if I didn't have to worry about that, my first name was Shake, then I'd probably go for that.
I just thought that was taller and more muscular, and it is a little bit faster, and it does stop a lot better. The gearbox is better, and I just thought it was the better car. However, I'm bored with Ferrari.
Well, I don't, styling-wise, I mean, I just think there's no contest. That's a much more attractive car.
It's a nicer place to sit.
Nicer place to sit. I always think, really, if you're going to buy a really expensive car, how would you feel sitting in a traffic jam in the car? I once did own a red Ferrari. It was the Magnum one.
Did you have it?
Did I have a I had a stick-on one that I just took out of the glove box and stuck on whenever I drove it. And I got stuck in a traffic jam in Camden, and I remember people walking past going, "Hey, there's Steve Cooney's Ferrari," and I was sort of going, "Hi, yeah, I've got one of these, yeah."
So what we're really saying then is that for a thrashing round on a test track, the Ferrari's the better car.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But we think it's a bit flash and a bit boring now.
Yeah, and also they needed the stylings. The last nice, but the 355 is nice, but all those Daytonas and Dinos had real style, and there's something just a bit. I don't think these will age well.
Given the choice, I'd have one of those.
Yeah. So should we arm wrestle for it?
We both agreed the Ferrari was the better car, but because of that, we both agreed we'd rather have the underdog, the Minardi, the Tim Henman, the Bolton Wanderer. The Aston Martin Vanquish is not quite good enough to win this test, but precisely because of that, it does win your heart.
It's controversial. I know, people agreed. Yeah. So you both agreed you'd have the Vanquish.
Do you know what? I would actually save the £60,000 and have the DB9 still.
Yeah.
I really would. The problem with this is its gearbox. It's just
Still that bad.
Oh no, bad. Robert Mugabe is bad. This is just in a way different league of badness.
That's very bad.
It's appalling. No, I mean, the thing is, after I'd finished with it, gave it to the Stig, halfway around the lap, it stopped selecting third, went back to the factory, got fixed, came down, he set off again, it stopped selecting all gears, back to the factory again.
So did it ever actually manage a complete lap?
Yeah, finally, 3 weeks after it first set off, it finally managed to do a lap. And we've got it for you now. Oh, slow off the line, obviously trying to keep the gearbox in one piece before he gets down to the first corner, which he is approaching now. It's quite tidy through there. Yeah, that's not bad. Right, and into Chicago here. Bit of a lurch going on there, bit of oversteer on the way out. Still, the gearbox has worked all the way down to Hammerhead, so that's not bad. Go around that, he's got an awful lot of understeer there. Because it is quite a heavy car, you have to remember that. Into the follow through, he's going to have to slow down a wee bit for this. That's maybe heavy, but it's very fast. Listen to that noise. It is one of the greatest noises in the world that thing makes. Here he is, second to last corner, kissing the apex perfectly, and round the last corner and across the line. Time is 1 minute 27.1, which goes.
How does it compare to the old one though?
Well, that was 1:36.
What's down there?
It was the wettest day we've ever had here, so you can't really do anything on it. I tell you what, you might be interested in hearing then. We timed a DB9 round here. Do you know what time it did? Vanquish S, 127.1. DB9, 127.1.
Oh, really?
It's exactly the same.
£60,000 difference.
Exactly the same speed, and it's this gearbox. Because it wouldn't give the steer the gear he wanted. It was driving him nuts. He kept saying, "But you're telling me now, Aston, please stop it. Just stop it. Offer a proper gearbox for proper drivers, you know, because it's such a great car, and they ruin it. They ruin it with that stupid gearbox." Anyway, while they're changing that, let's see how the Ferrari got on. And off the line, he's leaving a huge fat number 11, because of course the gearbox in that can take the power. Through the first corner, look how flat that's cornering. It looks just so much more nimble than the Aston. There he is round Chicago. You see, that's looking better controlled than the Aston as well. Right, hammerhead, really is. You see, none of that understeer that we got from the Aston Martin. He just held the line. Little bit of power oversteer on the way out, heading down now to the follow through. Okay, he'll have to lift. He has to lift through the tyre wall. Of course, the paddle gearbox is better in this than it is in the Aston, but that is like saying that Rabies is better than Botulism as he comes round the last corner and across the line. And the time there is 1:26.8. So, it's actually only 0.3 of a second faster than the Vanquish, only 0.3 of a second faster than the DB9. I was expecting more than that, I must be honest.
Nevertheless, Ferrari has won a race.
Good Lord, isn't that amazing? In fact, on that bombshell we have to end. See you again next week. Good night.
Goodbye.
Bye, have a great time. Bye, have a great time. Bye, have a great time. Bye, have a great time.